It's my second time standing on stage. Thank you very much for having me here. And today I wanted to tell you a little fairy tale about Kaunas, second largest city in Lithuania, and to share some of our experience. And the topic is half of the kingdom for the public space. And the main message that I want to talk about is things can be more than they seem. And I hope this message will come across when I speak. First of all, maybe there's somebody in the audience who participated in the concert last month. Raise your hands.
Yes.
Okay, we have somebody. How did you come?
By car.
By car. Okay, where did you park?
Hotel.
Near the hotel, okay. Somebody else? Maybe somebody didn't come by car? Next to the train station. Do you park there or did you come by train? Okay. Okay. So we had a big event in Kaunas recently, Ed Sheeran concert. So 2 days. Kaunas felt it not only for 2 days, it was for a week before and 3 or 4 days after. So in 2 days were the concert, then around 10 days preparation and then leaving the stadium, which was by one of your sports reporter called a potato field afterwards, but a sensitive topic. Around 80,000 people visited this concert. As you know or you don't know, the stadium of football in Kaunas is in the city center. It is in the area that was in 2023 nominated as a UNESCO World Heritage. It is a complex situation that we have it there, but at the same time, we can see how, if managed properly, it can work, and it can work for concert and hopefully in the future also for football.
One slide back.
Here we go, this one. So who could have known that the process started in 2016 could realize positively? So in 2016, the first discussions about the change of the detailed plan started. So you know how it goes. You know, so the plan is prepared, it was brought to the community is angry. Typical situation. The biggest fear, although the stadium was there, yeah, so it's not a new stadium, it's a reconstruction of a stadium, so it was 10,000 seats, now we have 15,000 seats. So of course people were worried about traffic, saying that you are not allocating any of the places for parking. There's no place to have parking, or you have to build parking in Ąžuolynas, which is our inner forest of the city, which nobody wants to do. So how will you manage it? And then architects started talking, it's like, you know, you can park 15 kilometers away near the entrance to the city, near this big shopping mall, and then you are brought by a bus. That sounded crazy. Nobody could believe them. But, you know, 8 years later, we have Ed Sheeran concert, and the traffic is managed quite well. We live quite close to the city center. We work in the city center. We felt it, but it was not as drastic as we could anticipate when 40,000 people come for one-day event. So parking was organized all around the city. There were special routes of public transportation that was for free, bringing people around so that you can park somewhere far away and just be brought comfortably to the concert and then go back to your car and then leave or go to the train station or wherever you want to go. This showed a shift that is happening all around the world. With all the apps that are bringing different kind of services for people together. So Kaunas for a weekend became city as a service for parking, where everything was organized well. So city as a network of parking places and city as well-managed public mobility. It could be happening, of course, every day, but for this weekend it was quite nice. So this example I actually want to see the slides. Here we go. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So, I want you to see me as well. So, stadium mobility operation, let's call it like that, is an example how a network of public infrastructure in the city, if organized and managed well, properly, with the help of information communication technology, can become a service that reduces demand for static infrastructure. So we have a stadium, we have lots of parking halls, so instead of building 2,000 place or 15,000 place parking garage, we just distribute it throughout the city with the help of a phone. So what is static infrastructure? So static infrastructure is something that is there, but maybe not used 24/7. That is built for one purpose. It can be some extra purposes, I don't know, a market in the weekend, but in general, gray infrastructure, it's quite static. So, but it is a very necessary service. Yeah, so we have cars, and as in the previous presentation, in Netherlands example, they all come by cars and then cycle, yeah. We use cars. A lot of people live in the suburbs. We need to move around. Goods need to move around. That's normal. But can it be organized in a different way? So it's a necessary service, but maybe unnecessary infrastructure. And this trend of city becoming as a service, of mobility as a service, or water, energy as a service, is a trend that we are going forward, and that I think inner cities, especially central cities, historical cities, could seize this moment and use it to their advantage, to the fullest. So if we have space, space or land is not renewable. We have as much as we have, except if you live in Netherlands, then you claim water and then you have more land. But if you don't live in Netherlands, then it's a little bit more complex and you have as much as you have. So if you have open space, it's either for road or for public space. And we choose, yeah? So for one, we maybe can use an alternative and use city as a service. For one, maybe we cannot. In November 2023, this nice developer, SBA Urban, called us and said, hey, we have this, amazing piece of land in front of a city center. We already building these beautiful houses designed by Rolandas Palekas architecture office. There's few more coming up. We have this extra plot that we want to move forward to. It is just in front of the inner city. We would like to have a vision to bring all the projects that are already there together and to see how it could develop in the future. So of course you don't say no to such a project. The land that we're talking about is, you see the city center. City center and Žaliakalnis are the ones that are now UNESCO heritage sites. And Žemoji Freda is this post-industrial area, and you in Riga have a lot of those. And there's lots of projects how you can redevelop this area, and there's extra tension because this area is front of a heritage site. So how will it look like? How will it impact the views to the inner city? How will it impact the feeling, the genius loci, and so on? So lots of plans are being made, and we made one of those plans. So the Žemoji Freda regeneration vision, so this light gray area in front of a waterfront was kind of a compilation of old plans and just a structure of classic urbanism, how we can develop this area. And marked in red is the territory that I'm talking about. Near it, there's lots of investments by the city. So Čiurlionis Concert Center, which is here. So it already has a building permit. The bridge, pedestrian bridge, that's under construction. With competitions and everything. You saw some of the buildings, they're already being constructed. So this is something that is going on. We already have a base structure, so we wanted to talk more about it. So a lot of things going on. Science Island, this innovation museum, Žalgiris Arena expanded with a swimming pool. As I mentioned, Modernist Kaunas became part of UNESCO. We have this nice structure vision that we have to make more detailed. And there is ambition of the developer. So the task that we get is first, half of the kingdom to the public space. Like the developer was very, very clear. Public space is extremely important here. We're standing in front of a city center and we don't want to screw this up. So we want this to be a really nice place with different variety of public spaces, with different characters. We will hire different architects to do it. So it's like a dream project for an urbanist. It has to interact with the environment. It has to be extraordinary. It has to be more than just one thing. Talking about digital as well as physical. It has to build community, and people have to move smart. Like developers already feel that, for example, parking for office places due to our regulation is becoming unnecessary because of the hybrid work that we're working. So we see the future, we're not there, but we have to think about it. So that's what we did. So we created a concept where a public space becomes the integral part of the whole territory, shines the whole territory through. You come closer to water. We draw this nice plan. So the first area is already developed. Well, it's clear. And then the second part is the one that we designed. And then we will have public space competitions and architecture competitions for that. And the main idea was just to create a classical city, better than Paupys, sorry Mindaugas, hopefully, with lots of nice public spaces, with good access to water, where you can move easily, where you can park easily, not in the street. We start talking about materials, we start talking about urban furniture, about greenery, how it could act, how it could contribute to sustainability goals. We designed these beautiful accesses to water, a square with the old tower in the middle, the waterfront promenade, where different kind of movement is thought about. Of course, rooms with a view, so you can enjoy the UNESCO heritage, and of course, water. It's this waterfront faces north, so the best you can see is water. And then inside spaces, also for multiple uses. But when you have that, and it's very nice, there's not so much space left for cars. So where do you place those? And there's other things that you need to consider. So where do we place them? So other things are that not nice, but we have to have them, and they're always there, is parking, delivery, people moving, packages, waste collection, and maintenance. So how do we organize that? And one thought that we had, and we borrowed from the Netherlands, and Possad Max Van is actually working very hard on it, writing booklets, doing research. I recommend Googling their concepts. But we proposed one of those, and the mobility hub concept is we are kind of embracing the city as a service concept by bringing all the services together and then providing services on demand based on how people want to use it. And it's a very simple concept, like things that you have in Western city capital stations. You have everything for movement. So you have a piece of coffee, you take your parcel, you have access to public transportation, you have basic groceries. If you live in the area where you couldn't afford to buy parking, but you're using CTB or other service, you know that there will be a garage with allocated floor where you will take a car that you share. E-charging, designed a space for shared mobility services, kiosk, and so on. A very simple concept that kind of brings all these issues in one place. What does it give to the area? One, reduces demand for personal car use. Of course, there will be demand. Of course, there will be developed all the parking places necessary by the legal requirements. But if there is a need for alternative, there will be an alternative. And hopefully, it will increase change in use. Reduce pressure for more parking places. Good things, convenient access to public transport. So we make it a little bit more convenient. And the most important thing is more space for life. What is happening with the city center, and what we see is that land is a resource that there will not be more. And for us in Kaunas, with the UNESCO inner city, for you, Riga, with UNESCO inner city, Old Town, and then the historical city, You know that very well. But it is important then, and what I want to inspire the participants of the hackathon is to figure out which kind of static infrastructure can become a service, and don't waste space on it or make it more efficient in order to bring more life to it. So that's my main message. Let's make City as a service. Thank you very much.
Look.